In just a few hours, it'll be a new day. And as usual, we're here with your proverbial apple a day. This, of course, being your daily fill of knowledge on national pursuits. This is your Tuesday's edition of Jamaica Magazine, and I'm your host, Theodore Henry. The news is up next, followed by some production that I am sure will interest you.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, April 26. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is urging the countries of CARICOM and the Guyana Shield to take concrete actions against transnational organized crime within their individual borders and the regions. Dr. Chang, who is also chairman of the Council of Ministers of National Security and Law Enforcement, made the call during the opening session of the High-Level Security Conference of the Guyana Shield held in Suriname on April 21. He stressed that transnational organized crime continued to be a global security threat, affecting CARICOM and the Guyana Shield in various ways. These include illicit drug, firearms, and human trafficking, as well as terrorism, cyber attacks, illegal mining and fishing, piracy, and intentional and unlawful damage to the marine environment. In that vein, he says illicit trafficking of firearms, cybersecurity, trafficking in persons, and maritime security are the 4 priority areas of action for the CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security Impacts in 2022.
We must leverage the border security system in our respective region to fully utilize passenger name and record, advanced passenger information to identify persons of interest through risk assessment and pre-screening, comprehensively addressing all forms of trafficking in persons, migrants, smuggling, and illegal migration, which are all integral in the fight against transnational organized crime.
Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck is warning that action will be taken against Justices of the Peace JPs who are caught using their titles to secure financial benefits. He was speaking at the recent commissioning ceremony for 48 new JPs serving in St. James. The minister urged the newly minted Justices of the Peace to work to influence change in the parish, adding that they ought to use their status to promote good governance and good citizenship in their communities.
Your integrity and character has no price. Jamaica is looking to you and Justices of the Peace across every community to be that symbol of hope, of justice, of decency, and the leaders who will secure peace across every neighborhood and community.
Minister Chuck also gave an update on a JP who recently reportedly collected cash in exchange for certifying documents. That Justice of the Peace, who was one of about 5 exposed for collecting money for their services, has handed in his resignation and seals. State Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Dr. Norman Dunn, is challenging businesses to focus on exporting with a model that is resilient, sustainable, and adaptable. The call is in line with government's strategic objectives to increase market access for Jamaican goods, grow exports, and find new avenues to finance and support MSMEs.
We must export, we must develop things that is far beyond our needs here in Jamaica. We need to rise above where we are now. We need to understand that we are part of a global world. We're interconnected. But we have to carve out a piece for ourselves. Dr.
Dunn was speaking at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC's recent breakfast with the CEO meeting held at the AC Hotel by Marriott. Deputy CEO of the JBDC, Harold Davis, told the gathering that the agency was targeting at least 5,000 MSMEs annually to increase development support. 500 JBDC clients are to receive support this fiscal year with increased direct access to local and international markets.
Delivering 5% sales growth annually over the next 3 years, and to drive new business opportunities along industry value chains by establishing new incubators.
Meanwhile, Jamaicans are being urged to invest in sustainable activities that will protect the environment. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, made the call on Friday as the world celebrated Earth Day 2022 under the theme, Investing in Our Planet.
I use the opportunity just to encourage everyone to recommit to environmental protection and recommit to doing all that they can to make sure that we make Jamaica as sustainable and environmentally friendly as we can.
To mark the day, Minister Samuda joined the Forestry Department for a hike and tree planting exercise at Mount Airy in St. Andrew. 50 Blue Maho and West Indian cedar were planted in the area, which is located on the western side of the Blue Mountain Forest Reserve. The Ministry of Transport and Mining has signed a contract with TRL Software for use of its web-based accident analysis software system IMAP to facilitate improved road safety. Portfolio Minister Audley Shaw made the disclosure recently. IMAP enables road safety professionals to identify problems based on analyses of accident data, establish safety goals, plan and implement programs of countermeasures. Minister Shaw says the software will be used to provide the latest methods in crash data storage, analysis and reporting. It's also expected to speed up the crash data collection and analysis process as Jamaica moves from the current paper-based to a software-based system. And finally, intellectual property rights holders can expect to get even greater protection following Jamaica's accession to the Madrid Protocol system on March 27. That's according to Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill. Under the Madrid Protocol, Jamaican brands will be able to protect their trademarks in 125 territories across 109 member countries by filing a single international application and paying a single set of fees. Minister Hill was addressing a church service at the Transformed Life Church in Kingston to mark the start of Intellectual Property Week. The week is being observed from April 23 to May 1 under the theme IP and Youth, Innovating for a Better Future. Among the activities taking place during the period are a roundtable discussion, an essay and patent competition, a career corner, and a youth talk show on intellectual property. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
These are the stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister breaks ground for 700-room Trelawney Hotel, reveals plans to increase Jamaica National Service Corps, and welcomes new Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Andre Palmer. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was in Trelawney last week to break ground for Rio Hotel Group's 7th hotel on the island. The up to $100 million investment will see the construction of Rio Aquarel, a 753-room property. Mr. Holness says this is a welcomed investment in the tourism sector, estimated to employ 800 persons in the construction phase and 450 persons once the hotel's doors are opened.
It says something about the investors, but it does say a lot about the destination.
The Prime Minister says measures are in place to ensure that the project's environmental and social sustainability is maintained.
We must ensure that the community is involved, that community rights are protected, and that the community can truly embrace the project.
Mr. Holness says this is yet another indication that tourism continues to recover, bolstered by targeted collaboration between the state and private sector. In 2021, $2 million was earned and 1.6 million stopover visitors arrived. It's projected that Jamaica will close 2022 with 2.92 million visitors and total revenues of $3.58 billion. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has disclosed that government intends to expand the Jamaica National Service Corps, JNSC, to get more skilled labor into the workforce. The Heart NSTA Trust has also been placed on alert to ramp up its training to meet the needs of the labor market.
If we don't do that, then there can be no complaints if we have to import labor into the country. And we are seeing an increase in requests for labor, particularly skilled labor, into the country.
The Tourism Enhancement Fund TEF will be upgrading designated public beaches for Jamaicans to enjoy free access to the island's resources. Prime Minister Holness says where applicable, each beach will receive changing areas and restrooms, perimeter fencing, parking, children's play areas, seating, walkways, electricity and sewage treatment facilities. 3 beaches have so far been upgraded with several others tapped for improvements.
We hope to at least have one in every parish to ensure that our people can have the free access, benefit and use of what is theirs.
Road users are being urged to exercise caution as the nation experiences a rise in road crashes.
There is no need to be reckless. There is no need to be irresponsible. You will get to where you're going even if you drive a little bit slow, even if you drive with greater care, even if you stop and allow someone else to go. There is no need for this kind of abandonment of responsibility which we are seeing emerging post-pandemic.
The Prime Minister says there will be greater enforcement of the new Road Traffic Act. The head of government is making a special plea as the country continues to grapple with the Omicron and subvariants of the COVID-19.
Our advice and strong recommendation is that we continue to wear masks where necessary and possible, continue your social distancing, continue your hand sanitizing.
On Friday, the Prime Minister was in Kingston to welcome the new members of the National Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica. The cohort has been serving since 2021 and will continue to do so until 2023.
Even though you may not have experience, which is said to have taught wisdom, but we still expect you to be thoughtful in your words, in your speech, in your conduct. We still expect you to embrace a certain intentfulness, a certain deliberateness in your action, to be logical and reasonable, and also to be moral. Yes. In other words, we expect our young people to be leaders.
That's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us again next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
We can no longer turn a blind eye to our children. Each of us have the duty to protect them. As we continue to strengthen our protection campaign, we ask that you try positive discipline. Talk not once, twice, 3 times, 7 times even. In talking to your child, you make them comfortable to tell you about what is affecting them. Tell our children the truth and tell them what is wrong and why. We remind our parents, if you are having difficulties with your child, we are here for you to support you along with the many other agencies that are set up for this purpose. Additionally, we remind parents that if you see another parent in need of help, or sound advice, reach out and provide support. Every child is our child.
So many have an interest in taking on the responsibility of adopting a child, but they are either scared or have questions. But I read somewhere that it's okay to be scared because being scared means you're about to do something really, really brave. We have some answers that will help you settle any doubts that you may have.
We're going to go straight into it. What are the changes made?
Okay, before 2016, we had a two-tier system. First, applicants were asked to complete a pre-adoption form and then submit that to us. Now, that would normally take some time. So we reviewed the system and said that it would be best if maybe we erase that part of the process. So now what applicants have to do is that they go straight to our website and where they will find the adoption forms. The forms include the application form, the medical form, one for the child and the applicants, and the guidelines which outline all the information and all the required documents that need to be submitted with the application form.
Awesome. And what are the required documents?
The required documents are the birth certificates, marriage certificates if they are married, job letters and income statements, references from persons who know them, not a family member. And the references should not necessarily speak only to the person being a nice or a good person, but it should speak to how would they care for a child. That should be included, their capacity to care for a child. If the child is in school, we would need a child's last school report as well.
And when all of that is completed, what's the next step?
The next step would be submit all of those to the CPFSA. When it is here now, we would review to ensure that all documents are here. Now, if all the information is there, the application is reviewed, given a number, and assigned to a caseworker. And a letter would be sent to the applicant informing them of this and who the person is. Once the caseworker gets that application, that caseworker would now start to prepare appointments to interview both the applicants, the child, and whosoever, the birth parents, because the birth parents are also very important in the process.
And what if there are no birth parents?
Well, if there are no birth parents, we would have had death certificates for the parents if they have died. If they are nowhere around or cannot be located, there are avenues that we would have to take internally to ensure that we try our best to find them.
And once that's completed, what's next?
Once that is completed, the officers then would have to do a comprehensive report. And that report would have to be compiled and then submitted to the adoption board, because the adoption board is the only agency in Jamaica that can approve adoption at that level. So after the approval, it is submitted to the adoption board and approval is given, then it is now preparation for court. Because court is where it is finalized legally.
How long does that process usually last?
The entire process? We are at now 3 to 6 months, depending on if there are no challenges.
And once you get to court, then?
Once we get to court, court is held depending on the availability by the court. Some courts have set dates, while others will have to submit our documents and await their decision as to when we can come to court. Now, once the court has signed off on those documents, for adoption orders, it is the applicant's responsibility to collect those, and they will take a copy to the RGD, where they will apply for the new birth certificate for the adopted child.
And is there any cost associated with any of this process?
No, adoptions are free in Jamaica.
Is there anything else that Jamaica needs to know about the process?
We need adopters, prospective adopters, to understand that it is important that they submit all the documents, and it is also important that they are truthful in the stories that they give pertaining to how a child is placed in their care. Because what we find is that sometimes when we approach birth parents, they are not aware that this child is being adopted. They know that somebody is caring for their child, but that was not the arrangement that they adopted for. Persons generally who wish to adopt should love a child, should really want to take care of a child, because it's a lifelong investment. Persons, they should have proper accommodation for the child. They should be able to financially can afford to take care of that child. And they should be willing to accept that child as theirs. And that is very important, because we see sometimes that persons adopt for many different reasons, and this can affect the relationship of that child for the rest of their lives.
How can people reach out to you to find out or to just inquire about the adoption process?
Okay, we have an email address, adoption@childprotection.gov.jm, and our straight line to the unit is 922-1751.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Bugelo.
You're welcome.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I only we have to celebrate it now. They say the people them, them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, bono, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal, panta fight, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them,
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
On site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what the activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
Yeah. Download the app to get the updates there.
We walk hand in hand with technology. At this point, we're practically married to it. Technology is a huge part of almost all aspects of our lives. But while this is true, it's possible that we, at some point, can get lost in the normalcy, the dependency and the usefulness of it all, totally forgetting the need to protect ourselves. For this reason, you'll want to see this next production on cybersecurity trends.
Cybersecurity trends, though ever-changing, are a constant in today's society, even more so due to the increased usage of technology to attend school, conduct meetings, carry out work tasks, and basic day-to-day necessities.
There are a lot of trends out there, but as far as the online space, phishing is one of the enduring challenges out there, and the trend these days is to actually utilize COVID-19 resource sites as a platform from which to launch these attacks. They look very much like the official sites for a lot of these companies, and if you're really not wary, you will actually not realize that there are subtle changes such as misspellings, such as a graphic that is not where it should be.
So phishing, what really is it? According to our research, it is a type of social engineering attack often used to steal your user data, including login credentials and credit card numbers. As Lieutenant Colonel Sterling just explained, the hackers can replicate a trusted website. They can even trick you into opening malicious emails and messages. Once you do this, by clicking the link attached, you could very well be giving the hackers access to your private information, so be careful.
Additionally, we've seen an uptick in ransomware, and this is where this usually starts as part of a phishing campaign, and when you have fallen victim, the end result is that the attacker gains access to either your device or your network, and they encrypt your files and ask for ransom. But we're also seeing an increase in cryptojacking. This is where hackers will actually steal your cryptocurrencies, and they will take them to exchanges and cash out. So as Jamaicans become more adept at buying cryptocurrency and supporting our own digital currency issued by the central bank, they have to be more wary of some of the pitfalls of cryptojacking online. Now, we have seen also a good trends where the use of HTTPS for web-facing resources has increased by about 174% within the region. We have also seen a downward trend in malware infections because more persons are installing antivirus and anti-malware software and are generally becoming more responsible in their use. The need for security, if you really measure it, is costly, but the existence of a lack of security can be even more costly. Now, for the individual, there are free apps within the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store that you can use to help to secure your devices. And sometimes for a nominal cost, there are some that you can also use that will do a better job. Now, what works for you is really going to be up to what you do online and the devices that you have. But the risk of not having any protection at all is one that cannot necessarily have a dollar value placed to it. If your device gets encrypted by ransomware, what is the cost of it? Do you have backups? So that's another thing that you need to do, to back up your device, not just the settings, but also your data on the device. It is very easy to get pirated software or so-called free software from some download sites and torrents, but usually they come with unwelcome and hidden residents that will take over your devices and will sometimes cause you grief. So while it does have a cost attached to it, you have to do the cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of not having security versus having security? And I can almost assure you that when you really do it, the cost of security will work out way cheaper than not having security.
So the first technique that will be explained today is the technique of boiling. What we advise is for you to obtain clean water, water that you can see through. Then you would place it into a pot, you'd cover the pot and allow for it to boil. Allow for rolling boil for about 5 minutes. Then it would look something like this. Then after you would have achieved the 5 minutes of rolling boil, then you'd allow for it to cool. Then you would place it inside of another container.
Use an airtight container to store your water. If the water is not used within a few weeks, be sure to carry out additional treatment of the water. That may include boiling the water once more.
That's it from us here at the Jamaica Information Service. Make it a date and meet us again here tomorrow. Same place, same time. Also, connect with us on our website, social media pages, and our YouTube channel.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.